Hello, Maximum Growth Conference 2025, Coach Favorite, and all the extraordinary people that have put this conference together. I hope that you are well on your side. I am on my side. My name is Debola Deji-Kurunmi, and some of you fondly call me DDK. It's my absolute pleasure and joy to join you at this conference. Thank God for the power of technology. Thank God for the gift of digital media that is allowing us engage at this remarkable convening. Even though I can't be in the room with you, I'm truly excited to be a part of this year's conference. I know that it's for Gen Z leaders, younger people, and you have my heartbeat. Just last weekend, we were at Majestic Manifesto for Gen Z leaders. And if you were there with us, can I just get your hey in the room? Thank you for coming out. And very importantly, it should be obvious to you by now that God really has his heart on young people. God has his heart on a vision for your life. And you have this very unique advantage of the dispensation that you are living in. It's a dispensation of dominion. It's a pathway of possibilities. It's an era of execution. And you are standing on the brink of your becoming. You are standing on the brink of your becoming. I also love to say that you are at the neck of your next. And so it matters the step that you take in this season of your life because it naturally transitions you into transformation. Hopefully, it leads you on the path that releases your growth, your genius, and your greatness. So thank you for having me. I know that you've already been having a very remarkable time. I hope that you're learning. I hope you're connecting. And for some of you who attend conferences a lot, I hope that this is not just another conference. I'm praying and releasing my faith that this is your conference, that you're going to really feel powerful to take important steps at the end of this year's conference. I pray that you are going to step out of Maximum Growth Conference 2025 and you step out with an action plan and step out with a blueprint for specific steps you want to start to take, specific changes you want to make, specific relationships you want to build, specific habits you want to start to institute, and the important commitments that you will bring out of this conference on your path to greatness. This is a precious evening on my side. I have had a day of ministrations and teachings. I got back, rested a bit, watched a movie, slept a little, maybe for like 30 minutes. And I was about to hit a new crescendo in my sleep when I said, oh, I actually have a recording before I go on into my coaching masterclass later this evening. And that's how I jumped out of bed and said, hey, I actually need to prepare myself to share my heart with my younger brothers and sisters, proteges, and friends. So we are at Maximum Growth Conference, and if we even choose to just explore the conversations that sit around the concept of maximum growth, that could be a fantastic foundation to lay. I believe that the conference itself, in the way that it has been named, carries great power. The matter of youth as a bankable currency and an energy of advantage really relies on growth. The whole concept of having youth as an advantage is that you have latitude to grow. Do you understand this? The advantage that you have over a person maybe in their 50s or their 60s is that you have more bandwidth. There's so much more ahead of you by the grace of God. So the advantage of youth, the currency of youth, is actually the leverage of growth. So if a young person does not set themselves on the path of growth, then there's no advantage to being a young person. Do you understand this? You have the unique leverage of growing, of getting better, of learning new things, of innovating, of, mastering new technology, of changing what's not too great about your personality, of making new investments in the way that you can maximize your mind and become a better version of who you are today. And that is the privilege of youth, the advantage of youth as a currency, right? Is the leverage of growth, is the opportunity to be better, to do better. And I'm very hopeful that that is exactly what we can take away from this conference, the recognition that growth is an invitation and growth is a necessity. Do you understand this? And that you ought to make a decision for growth. You have to make a choice for growth in your own life. And you know that there are 12 remarkable dimensions of a person's life. And I think I could start with that for you. Let me show you the wheel of life. That I have used for many years to actually coach a lot of people, and it's been a very powerful tool. I'm trying to pull it out for you. Hopefully I can catch that image for you. But no worries, I'm also going to include it in the supporting resources you're going to receive after this particular conference. So the Life Compass shows you 12 different parts of your life. Um, and we can start to build a roadmap in our lives to grow across those different areas. And that's what I want to pull up for you, the different ways that you can grow, the different areas that you can actually determine that you're going to be a better person. The first arena that invites you to growth is actually around legacy. Now, many people have an idea of the different ways that they want to grow in their lives, but they often do not give themselves to the conversation around legacy and life of impact. I want to show you the 12 areas of life where you ought to make an investment to grow. In your youth, some areas will be more important than others. But as you go on in your journey, you will start to find how critical all these 12 parts of your lives are. Do you understand this? So I quickly want to show you the life compass map, that shows you these 12 important parts of your life. In the past, we often sort of focused on just 8 parts, but now we can see that there are 12 parts that a person ought to make an investment to growth and to transformation. And as you make those investments, you start to see your life opening up into more opportunity, more transformation, more impact, more joy. And that is what I desire for you from your youth. One of my own unique gifts as a young person is that I started to get into conversations like this from when I was a teenager. So from when I was 13, 14, 15, I really started to ask the question, what is my purpose? What kind of impact do I want to make in the world? When people think about me, what do I want them to remember? Would you believe that I was already thinking about this sort of things when I was like 13, 14, 15? And it made a big difference. Some of you are in the room today. Maybe you are 18 or 19. Some of you are 25, 27. You are in a very defining season of your life to better understand yourself and to better understand the different dimensions of who you are in the way that your life is emerging so that you can make the needed investments into growth. So the first area I always love to highlight to people is legacy and life of impact. This is a dimension of your life where as a young person, you ought to be thinking about. Many young people don't think about legacy because we think that legacy is a matter for those in their 40s or 50s or 60s. But legacy and life of impact is simply about the fact that as you live your everyday life, you ought to be thinking about the kind of impact you want to make. No matter how little, in what ways do you want to make a difference in the world, right? How do you want to volunteer your skills? How do you want to be a blessing to those who are, not as privileged as you? How do you want to use your gift, your talents, or your abilities to make the world a better place? What burdens do you carry for this world? What problems keep you up at night? What problems do you want to solve? This is that part of your life where you must begin to answer those kind of questions. And a book I really recommend that you read and you start your journey to purpose with is actually Following God's Plans for Your Life by Kenneth Hagin. Following God's Plans for Your Life by Kenneth Hagin. And then you can go on to his other book, Plans, Purposes, and Pursuits by Kenneth Hagin. From there, you can go on to Hello Tomorrow by Dr. Cindy Trim. These are books on purpose. And if you're ready for an adventure, you can even go on to Visioneering by Andy Stanley. Visioneering by Andy Stanley. Powerful books that open your mind up to the matter of your purpose and really invite you to start to answer the question, what am I here for? Of course, there's an additional book I should recommend, and it's The Purpose-Driven Life by Rick Warren. And I know that a number of you might have heard of this very remarkable book that really challenges you on your path to purpose. So we start from there, and it's definitely a very important part of your life that I heartily recommend you start to grow in. You start to grow that knowledge, and you start to grow your investment in becoming a person of purpose and a person of impact, right? And you don't have to be super clear about your purpose for you to start to think about making a difference wherever you find yourself today. A second important area of your life that you ought to pay attention to and start to grow is your personal brand. And your personal brand, I know today it's very connected to like Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, but to be honest, is bigger than that. The whole concept of your personal brand is how you are perceived, how you show up anywhere you go, what you are remembered for. And as a young person, this is something I want you to start paying attention to. Pay attention to how you dress, pay attention to how you talk, pay attention to the friends you keep, pay attention to how you treat others, pay attention to your personality and your character, because these things are forming your personal brand. Your personal brand is what people say about you when you are not in the room, that opens doors for you to come into the room. This is what your personal brand is about. And for those of you who actively engage on social media, I want you to remember that the internet never forgets. I see some things that young people do, what they wear, how they speak, how they lash out at older people, and those sort of things on social media. And I just say, this is not a wise young person. So I want to encourage you to be intentional when it comes to your use of social media and to be able to leverage it in a positive, impactful way. A third area of your life you definitely must pay attention to is family. That is, for most of you, maybe right now, your focus is on being a great son or daughter, being a great sibling to your brothers and your sisters, right? But as you go on your journey, and you may be listening to me, you are even already married, maybe you have your own children, then your family, the concept of family now expands to even like your spouse and your children, right? And family would always be a really important part of our lives. Now, I know that many of you might have come through a strenuous relationship with your parents because you are in that space where you want to make your own decisions. They may disagree with you. Maybe you have some strong convictions about faith and doctrine, and they are orthodoxy and they don't quite agree with you, or you have your own decisions about where you want to live, where you want to school, you want to relocate, etc. Or maybe you even are just, you want to pursue a creative career, but they want you to pursue a professional career. And all those factors in decision making can push you to a place where you feel like your parents don't really understand you. But I want to encourage you as a young person to be very intentional about your relationship with your family and to nurture it to the best of your ability, to pursue peace, to demonstrate humility, and to allow God do a work through you regarding your family. This is an area of your life I really encourage you to make the needed investments. We are now at number 4. At number 4, personal growth and development. This is a big part of your life, and it's actually a part of your life you should really invest in at this stage of your life. Personal development is what you're doing today. You're listening to me, you are at a conference, you're taking notes, you're setting goals, you're reading books, you are paying for coaching, you are joining, professional networks with other people that are aligned to your vision. Personal growth and development is a very, very big part of your life. It's a part of your life that will determine the next decade. What you do in another 3 to 5 years will make a big difference in the kind of opportunities that you're going to experience in your future. So I can tell you categorically that this part of my life had maybe about 60% of the impacts that made me into who I became in my 20s and in my 30s. Some people know that when I was in my first year in the university at the age of 17, there was this 1 year strike that we had. We used to call it ASU strike. And I don't know if they still happen in universities, but we had this 11-month strike, almost a whole year after my first year, as I was about to get into my second year in the university. And in that time, I believe that I must have read more than 30 books by Mike Murdoch and by Miles Monroe. I read those two men and a bit of some of the books by Matthew Ashimolo. I remember those were books that I sat with during the holiday. My dad would give me money. I'll go into the bookshop and I'll buy these books. I'll read them again and again. I read all the books that had been published that I knew I could lay my hands on by Mike Murdoch at the time. When I got back to school, everybody basically started saying there's something different about you, like you really changed. And it was the power of the light that I was interacting with from these books. I've always been given to reading, to private study. I've always been fascinated by wisdom. And you would often find me in private retreats, just drinking in wisdom, listening to sermons, reading books, accessing coaching. And it's not a wonder that across my organizations, you will always find like a learning segment. We have a coaching business, that has reached more than 70,000 learners with more than 200 courses. So I am a big believer in the power of education to transform the mind and to transform the life of a person. So this fourth one is definitely really, really big for me. And from there, we go on to number 5, where I'm not highlighting a lot marriage or significant other. So I can put that as number 5 for you, but it may not be a big deal for many of you right now. And then for some of you, maybe you are in a courtship, and this is definitely a very important part of your life. The way I'll describe it is, while you may not have a need to make investments in marriage if you're not married, I want to say make investments in your single journey. If you're a single person, be intentional about the circle you're building and acquire a lot of knowledge so that you can make the right decision when it comes to that area of your life. In fact, I don't know why I was not prioritizing it. Actually, it's a very, very critical part of your life. So number 5, marriage, significant other, courtship, relationship, and managing your emotions when it comes to that area of your life in terms of preparing yourself for who you want to spend your life with. Please do not make a hasty decision. Do not make a decision because you feel like everybody around you is doing it. Do not make a decision because your parents are putting you under pressure. I want to say to you categorically that after salvation, who I married has had definitely maybe about the most remarkable impact in my life. The 3 biggest influences in my life would be God, the family I came out of, and the man I married. So you want to really be careful about how you're thinking about this area of your life, just to ensure that you really position yourself for success and you don't allow the enemy to cheat you. Okay. At number 6, we have friends and associates. Friends and associates. And definitely, this is an area of your life that I want you to be very, very intentional about. I want you to invest in a circle that I will call your miracle circle. Find your firelighters. Find the people that ignite passion in you. Find the people that deeply inspire you. I want to encourage you not to make a decision about your relationships simply because you went to the same university, you attend the same church, or you live in the same neighborhood. You have to find people who inspire you, people who share your values, people who call you out and call you up to be better, people who see and appreciate who you are and with whom you can truly be yourself, and people who, can support you to achieve your most important goals. So you want to make important growth investments when it comes to friends and associates. And then we talk about networks, partnerships, and alliances. There are other kinds of relationships that you have to build that is not necessarily like your confidant, your prayer partner, your covenant sister, your best friend. But there are other kinds of relationships you have to build with mentors, with work colleagues, with sponsors, with coaches, in professional settings, people that are going in a similar direction as you and who could support you as you support them. And so that is definitely number 7 of a part of your life that I want to see you make some very important investments. At number 8, I want you to make an investment in rest, recreation, and renewal. This is the part of our lives that many, many people don't really have their eyes on: rest, recreation, and renewal. I want you to start from your youth to begin to be more intentional about taking care of your body by resting. I want you to enjoy your life, have a lot of fun, be safe out there while having fun, of course, but also really take good care of learning to retreat, to recover your energy, and to sort of build yourself up again after seasons of high performance or high demanding projects. And I have found that in doing that, you continue to stay really fresh and you're able to keep growing and getting better at your craft, right? From there, let us move on to your career, business, calling. This is definitely also a really important part of your life, your career, business, and calling. This is in the time of your youth, just like personal development and growth, it happens to be a big deal. It's big deal. Your career, business, calling. This is the time of your life where you're really asking yourself, what do I want to do? What industries catch my heart? What spheres of influence do I feel that I'm called to? And the encouragement I always give young people is you don't need to start out being sure of exactly what you want to do in your career. It just matters that you go and find a place to volunteer, to intern, to serve, and to build, your work skills. Even if you ultimately will go into a different career, you will find that a lot of those tools that you've taken in will continue to support your ability to succeed. A lot of those skills that you built in while you were in a different organization or working with another young leader, and it felt like a one-man job, but you continue to make those investments. Those things now support your ability to succeed when you ultimately figure out exactly what you want to do. You might have heard me teach, and I still shared it at Majestic Manifesto, a new way that I really would love young people to think about their passion in life. I don't want you to think about your passions as what you love to do the most. I want you to think about your passions as how you do whatever it is that you do. And that's how I've always lived my life. You can ask about me. I've always put myself into anything that I commit myself to. And so I don't think about passion first as what fulfills me. I think about passion as how would I fulfill my commitment in any context that I find myself. So when it comes to your career, you may have the answers. You may be very clear, where you want to go and, the industry you want to play in, the work you want to do. You may be very clear about that already. And for some of you, you may not be clear. And for some of you, you may be clear, but you don't have that opportunity or platform yet. I encourage you to get busy doing something. Volunteer somewhere, intern somewhere, take up that first job that doesn't look like your dream job, but make sure that you just keep moving. And that is how you grow your own skill set and your mastery to now become a high value player when you get to where you really want to go. Okay, that now leaves us with the last 3. So we stopped at number 9. At number 10, let's talk about money. Money, 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 money. Where is my money? At number 10, this is also a critical part of your life, and it's where we talk about financial stability and money. The best time to learn about money is actually last year, but the next best time is right now. If you are 16, you should already begin to build your money mindset. The 2 biggest books that I will recommend to you will be The Millionaire Mind by Harv T. Eker, and The Blessing by Kenneth Copeland. Those are two books I really challenge you to read. And then for women, I encourage you to also read a book like Smart Money Woman by Arese Ugu, and then to read all the books that has been released by Shola Deshakin, because she's one of the lords when it comes to, money mastery and personal finance coaching. So check out these leaders and see what they have to offer you and really start to make the needed growth and investments in shifting your mindset in the way that you make, manage, and multiply money. At number 11, we talk about your health, wellness, and fitness, how you eat, how you exercise, how you rest, how you make your body fit for purpose, and how you use knowledge to build a unique blueprint that really works for your body, because you have to reckon that your body is a vessel that empowers you to fulfill your mandate. And my prayer for you when it comes to your health is that no matter how demanding your destiny is, you're going to have a supply of the Spirit that is greater than the demands of your assignment and the impact on your body. But learn to take care of your body, learn to rest, lose that excess weight, and really just be super fit as a young person who has an assignment before them. And at number 12, of course, is spirituality, your spiritual growth and development, as well as your relationship with God. This is definitely something that you cannot joke about. It's definitely something that you have to be intentional about. And my belief 100% is that you're going to keep making that growth in your life. You're going to keep making that commitment to be a better version of yourself when it comes to your relationship with God. Find a Bible-believing church, belong or join a kingdom community. And I think the most critical thing I could share with you when it comes to your spirituality is really about your habits. The success of your spirituality is connected to the success of your systems, your devotional systems, how you prioritize a lifestyle of prayer and scriptures and retreating. Little by little, gradually starts to come together, and it makes you into a beloved of the Lord. These are definitely important parts of your life. I'm going to share an assessment with Coach Favorite, which she can pass on to you. And you can take that assessment to be able to rate yourself across these 12 areas. Are you excited about that? Fantastic. So you can rate yourself across these 12 areas, and then you'll be able to receive like a workbook, an action plan template, where you can now set up your action plan to intentionally see how you want to grow in these different parts of your life. So yes, that was just to set you up across the 12 areas of your life, so that when you think about maximum growth, you know what I mean. When we say, are you growing? You can definitely say, these are the top 3 areas of my life that I'm prioritizing in this season, and this is how I am going to grow in those areas. Okay, so that is my gift to you. The assessment will come through, and then you can take the action plan and start to build with that. Having laid that foundation, let me go on to the rest of my time with you. And I just want to share with you some of the majestic mindsets that I want you to carry forward from now on as a young person. Things I want you to pay attention to that I believe will quickly set you apart, and will give you the advantage that you need as a young person who can leverage your youth, your energy, and your the opportunity of time to really make an advantage for your life. Okay? Now, let's go into some of these mindsets that I want you to embrace and some of these approaches I want you to take with your life. The first is to always really believe that anything is possible. Anything is possible. I want you to heal your possibility blindness, and I want you to move into possibility blueprints. Heal from your possibility blindness and move into possibility blueprints. I want you to know that anything is possible. The answer is not no, the answer is how. you see this. Many times, all we need is really wisdom. All we need is strategy, coaching, knowledge, asking the right questions for us to be able to chart our course. So when a great idea comes into your heart, when a vision enters your heart and is not relenting, the moment you start to see that this is my chance to make a difference in the world, I want you not to excuse yourself and say, I don't have a second degree. I didn't go to an Ivy League university. My parents are not rich. I have a lisp, I'm a slow talker. I'm not yet very confident. I don't have any experience. My process is still on. And all the sort of noble things we say to ourselves, but don't make any sense in reality. I want you to stop excusing yourself from your future. I want you to stop negotiating yourself out of significance. I can tell you this because that's how I've lived my life, right? So going forward, I want you to know that anything is possible. Like, for real, for real. You just have to find the way. So you use coaching, you use observation, you use mentorship, you use asking the right questions, research, and even being a part of more inspirational communities to observe how things are done. And then you start to take your baby steps, and your gentle steps will become your giant strides. Okay. The second thing that I want to encourage you to start to do is to become a government unto yourself. And what I mean with that is, we're in a time where packaged value is often higher than produced value. There's so many people who sound like they have it together, but they don't really have it together. They sound like they're brilliant and they know what they're doing and where they're going, and everybody is an expert, a catalyst, and all of that. But it does not mean that they have it together. I don't want you to be that kind of young person. I don't want you to be a young person who sounds brilliant, but is not really brilliant. I don't want you to be a young person who sounds responsible, but is not really responsible. I don't want you to be a young person who has brilliant ideas, but doesn't have the discipline to stay through. I don't want you to commit yourself to visionaries and say, I want to submit and I want to be mentored, then you run away. Those are the kind of things I see many young people doing, but that is not going to be you. So I want you to be a government to yourself. And what that looks like is live your life with structure and systems. Be disciplined. Not because anybody is watching or anybody is going to give you a medal for it, but because you know that nobody rises to the level of their vision in life. Everybody falls to the level of their systems, right? So I want you to start to make a better practice of your daily habits, your daily routines. When you wake up, what you do, how you set your to-do list, when you go to bed, how you meet up with friends, the time you devote to learning, how you use productivity tools to do your work, how you organize yourself, the kind of person you are becoming. Don't oversleep, use alarms, use calendars, don't overcommit, don't over-volunteer. These are the temptations of young people. We say yes too much. Get out of those WhatsApp groups because you don't have to be everywhere. Go and order your life. Go and gather yourself together like a government, a working government, right? Set your budget. Don't be a spontaneous spender. Watch your words. Come out of associations of gossipers and, just reorganize your life and be a person with stronger priorities. I really want you to do this. It's going to set you apart. It's going to separate you. You see, there are many young people out there who are just living their lives anyhow, doing what they want, but that is not you. That's not you. So I want you to live like a government. That's what I want you to start to do for me. And it's going to make a big difference in the way that you can succeed with your goals. Have a greater sense of order. Repurpose your friendships to become your accountability partners. Hold yourself accountable to your goals, right? Set goals every 90 days. Work on who you are becoming and be very, very intentional. Behave like you are going somewhere, and that when you get to where you're going, you don't want negativity being spewed about your name because of mistakes that you made when you were a younger person. And that doesn't mean you're going to be uptight. It just means that you're going to carry yourself with a greater sense of honor and seriousness. The third thing that I want you to pay attention to is to refuse to play small. Start small, but refuse to stay small, right? Start small, but refuse to stay small. And the idea here is not for you to go and open a big industry, a big institution tomorrow. It's not for you to go and, borrow money because you want to do something so big to prove that you're not small. No. The point here is that you have to participate in progressive prosperity. And that's not even a matter of money. What I mean here is I want you to measure your growth every 90 days. Every quarter, you can release another version of yourself. Look at an area of your life where you want to do better and take that area and say, in this part of my life, I want to speak better. I want to communicate better. I want to manage my emotions better. You see, I want to learn coding and I want to be really good at it. I want to read a book every month and I want to get it done, right? I want to go for that promotion in my organization. I want to set myself aside and actually hit my target, right? I want you to practice incremental excellence. I want you to have a growth graph that keeps going upward, right? It is the path of progressive prosperity. Refuse to be small. Refuse to plateau on a low plane and just continue to play that way. Refuse to be the person who is predictable with averageness. No, that's the meaning of mediocrity. To be mediocre is to be predictable with averageness. For people to know that you're not going to blow anybody's mind, that's not you. So I want you to participate in the path of progressive prosperity. Keep getting better. Keep making progress. And as you make progress, celebrate your growth. Little by little, buy yourself a drink, take yourself out, do something that really gives you joy after you hit the next target of who you really want to be. The fourth thing I would really encourage you to start to practice is to find your forerunners. I want you to find your forerunners and I want you to follow your forerunners. I want you to move along the lines of your models. Be intentional to study them, to observe your teachers, to learn from them, and to, whenever it is appropriate, pattern yourself, along the lines of their principles and their practices. This is going to save you years of errors and years of trial and error and years of mistakes and years of tears. So find your forerunners, follow your forerunners, and make moves after your models and mentors and matriarchs, because this is going to definitely be a blessing on your path. The fifth and the final thing that I would love to say with you is to merge competence with character. I know we're talking a lot about competence these days, and we're talking about expandable expertise and breakthrough brilliance, and I'm all for that. And in the course of our time together, I've definitely inspired you along those lines. But I really want to request of you to be intentional about merging competence with character. I want you to be intentional about growing honor for yourself, but maintaining humility in all your engagements. Make sure that this is the kind of person that you are. Don't let anything make you so woke that you're now foolish. No, that's not you. Be an exemplary young person who carries himself or herself with grace, right? But still recognizes the role of those who have gone ahead. Be a person of great character. Be a person of an amiable personality. Be a person of great charisma, and still always show up with compassion and with kindness in a way that truly, truly makes you memorable. This will definitely be things that will put you on the path of growth and also give you a sense of stability in your life. Stability. And that's what I'm releasing my faith for. That in the name of Jesus Christ, you're not going to run helter-skelter. You are not going to be caught up in the cobweb of hustle mentality. You will know that you are cared for. And even on the path of growth, you're always going to enjoy favor. People are going to surround you to help you. You're going to make motion in the right direction. You're going to have the help that you need, and doors will open for you supernaturally till you you become everything in the heart of God for you. Go in this strength of yours. Go in this might of yours. Leverage your youth as a bankable currency. Enjoy unusual advantage everywhere you go. And as you give yourself to service, may you find mothers and fathers, mentors and leaders, forerunners and models, voices, sponsors, helpers, donors, funders who will support you and who will pick you up and establish their commitment to you. I thank God for Coach Favorite. I thank God for all the extraordinary partners who have made this conference a success this year. I pray that God will go before you. He will make your path straight. He will increase you in great favor. And my desire is that when we meet in 2026, you're going to have so many testimonies, so many breakthroughs. Please let me know what stood out for you from this session when you are sharing your experiences. I'm happy for you to tag me. I want to connect with you online. And I very importantly want to know the steps you are going to take and the actions you are going to make from Maximum Growth Conference 2025. I thank you so much for having me. It's definitely been an exciting time being on this call with you. And I hope that you have a great rest of your time at the conference this year. Thank you so much and go do great things. I'll see you soon.